Iran-backed Houthi rebels firing 2 more ballistic missiles at U.S. ships in the Red Sea, adding to the more than 30 attacks in the region. Have you been following this? Well, the action comes despite airstrikes by the U.S. and our allies targeting the group in Yemen. When reporters asked President Biden on any progress being made by our forces, he said this.
Are the airstrikes in Yemen working?
Well, when you say working, are they stopping the Houthis? No. Are they going to continue? Yes.
Okay, here to react, Fox News senior strategic analyst, retired 4-star General Jack Keane. General, we've been speaking that we had for the last few weeks. You got to answer the Houthi rebels. We are. Why don't you think they've been effective in clearing out the Red Sea and stopping the attacks?
Well, because the Houthi rebels have thousands of rockets and missiles and hundreds of launchers, and they've been at this for years in terms of fighting Saudi Arabia and initially UAE as well. So they're very practiced at war, and they're very skilled at what they're doing, and they have significant depth, much as Iran has supplied Hamas with all the components to make thousands and thousands of rockets and missiles, and have provided the Hezbollah with over 130,000 rockets and missiles. The Houthis have tens of thousands. So that's the reality we're facing. What we have to do is what the president is suggesting, and I agree with him. Let's keep it up. Let's sustain it. This is a finite number of rockets and missiles for sure, and a finite number of launchers. So step one is to continue the attacks that we're doing, to take the capability away. Step two, and we're obviously doing this, and we have to be aggressive about it, is disrupt the flow of the replacement rockets, missiles, and other supplies from Iran to Yemen. All of that is going by sea, and we've got to intercept it, and we were doing that, and sadly, it looks like we may have lost a couple of SEALs in doing that very same thing. We got to be aggressive about it. And the third thing, Brian, and we've talked about this, the center of gravity behind all of this is Iran, and we have to hold them accountable, and we're not doing that. Maximum sanctions, step one. Take the money away from them that they've been able to receive as a result of this administration pulling back from the Trump sanctions. But then number two, the IRGC are the suppliers of the rockets, the missiles. They provide all the training and support for the Houthis. Go after their training centers, their bases, their headquarters, and their leaders. That is the third step that must be taken, and that is where the administration is reluctant to step in and do that.
Can we switch over to Israel and action in Gaza right now? We understand yesterday in an interview, Netanyahu rejected U.S. calls to scale back the military effort, and they said they accused the U.S. of trying to coerce Israel into a situation would endanger their country. How bad is the friction between the countries, and how is it affecting operations in Gaza?
Well, I think the tension has been rising over time. This is a very comprehensive and complicated operation that the IDF has been involved in. It's going to take months to be able to do what they're seeking to do, is dismantle the entire Hamas network and get the leaders and destroy their entire military infrastructure. That requires systematic, deliberate clearing operations. The administration has been pushing Prime Minister Netanyahu to pull back from those kind of clearing operations and just focus on the leaders. That will not get the IDF and the Prime Minister the results he wants. And what would happen as a result of that, the leaders will stay in place, the infrastructure will survive, thousands of fighters will survive also, Brian, and Hamas will declare victory, and they'll attack again. So that's where the tension point is. I think we should get out of the way and let the Prime Minister, his war cabinet, set the strategy and let the IDF execute it and continue to support them.
I'm just stunned by the sophistication of those tunnels, the underground networks that exist. I think it even surprised the Israelis how much weaponry was there and how deep these tunnels go. It's been fascinating because they're debriefing a lot of the captured Hamas fighters. General, always great. Thanks so much. The world's on edge, and there's nobody better to talk to about it. Appreciate it.
Yeah, have a great weekend.
You too. All right, coming up.